So that brings me to my last point, which I think is honestly the most important, and that is today I'm going to be talking about some of the advice I wish I would have had when I first started working out that would have projected me even further than I am now. I was just doing all of these things right. The first thing I think of is, if you watch any of my videos in the past, the main thing that I harp on is keeping your intensity high. What I don't mean by that is throwing the weights around. If you watch all of my sets and all of my videos, the weight is controlled the entire time, especially with a slow eccentric, meaning letting the weight back down. That's going to give you that deep stretch, and it's way more hypertrophic than just letting it drop and then swinging it back up. You want to be in control of the weight the entire time. Ultimately, there's a couple kind of different ways to work out. One of them is powerlifting, and the other one is bodybuilding. Now, obviously, there's CrossFit, all different sorts of different types of fitness. But for the majority of people that come to the gym, you need to know what your focus is. If you're a power lifter, your goal is to move the weight from point A to point B, basically by any means necessary within the rules of the Powerlifting Association. For bodybuilding, you are supposed to be feeling the muscle that you're targeting. So if I'm benching, I should not feel it more in my front delts or my triceps. I should feel it in my chest. Obviously, those are secondary muscle groups that are going to get activated, but your primary target is the chest. So you should feel it when you're training it. That's why we can't just be throwing the weights around. Now, if you're trying to be a power lifter, that's great, but my focus is bodybuilding, and I think without people even realizing it, that's the main focus of why they're here too. They might not want to be a competitive bodybuilder that goes up on stage, but ultimately they want to transform how their body looks. They want to look better. That's why most people are in the gym, so you should kind of be training like a bodybuilder. Another thing I see a lot of is cell phones. I'm sure everybody sees it, everybody harps on it, but honestly, if you're trying to keep your workout intense, time gets away from you when you start scrolling. So just, if you need to change the song or whatever, obviously I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just telling you what I would have told myself when I was younger. Taking these long pauses in between sets, or like if you're working out with a group, basically, if you're working out in a group of 3, once that third person's done, you should be hopping back in. That's enough time in between sets. So that's what I mean by intensity. Get right into the next set after you catch your breath or whatever. Don't wait for your muscles to stop being sore. We're trying to chase the pump here, so your muscles should be sore. I've been working out honestly like 13 or 14 years now. I started in 8th grade. So obviously through that whole time, I wasn't super consistent, especially at the beginning. But one thing did remain is I've always loved it. Honestly, I can't even say when I started like getting super serious, because I feel like over the last 5 years, I've just been learning more and more and more. And like, I feel the muscle works better almost every time, just making these minor adjustments. So I feel like I'm always going to be a student to this. There's always stuff to learn, which is what is exciting. But I think the main thing keeping me here is not necessarily trying to do something great in bodybuilding. It's the fact that I just love coming to the gym. Now, if my love of working out takes me to the point where I get my pro card, I get to stand on the Olympia stage someday, that would be amazing, right? Because it's showing my hard work paying off. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm here because I love it, and I'm probably gonna do it till I die. Going back to my last point, don't rush this process. People progress at different rates. When you first start working out, you're just gonna pack on muscle if you just look at a weight. Those newbie gains we wish we could just have through the entirety of our life, but ultimately, the longer you work out, the slower you're gonna progress. Don't let that deter you though. It should really just come down to you loving being here, loving to work out, and loving seeing the result, even if they're minute. All these people on social media, you don't know what they're taking, okay? And don't let that pressure you into taking freaking SARMs, steroids, any of that stuff, because you have no idea what that's doing to your body. And I see some of these kids that are like 18 years old jumping on steroids because they want to look like Chris Bumstead. Look, man, you have no idea what you're doing to your body. You have no idea what you're doing to your longevity. I mean, you really are shaving years off your life. If you decide that you want to take those after doing your research, then that's your choice ultimately. But just make sure you have your training, your diet, your hydration, your sleep, have everything in check, have everything perfect. But don't rush this process. Even when you use those things, you're still limited by your body and how quickly it's going to grow muscle. So that brings me to my last point, which I think is honestly the most important, and that is do not compare yourself to others. Social media honestly has ruined people's mindsets and thinking that a lot of these things are achievable when a lot of people are photoshopping their stuff, editing their stuff super highly, and it's not what they look like in real life. Even if it is, you look at some of these freaks out there like Sam Sulek and that Anton kid that just got his pro card at like 19 years old. They are genetic anomalies. They're like 1 in 10 million, if not more, right? If you're one of those genetic anomalies, we're all jealous of you because you can just pack on size from a young age. But for the average person like myself, it can get super discouraging and disheartening when you look at those people and think, why don't I look like that? I'm 27 years old, some 19-year-old kid is just way bigger than me, in way better shape than me. And that's just gonna go nowhere, and it's gonna kill your joy. I see so many of these young kids out here that are in the gym and they're just getting discouraged. They're like, why do I even come here? But I hate that. We should be in here because we love it.
We should be in here encouraging each other. And honestly, if you don't think you're progressing, take progress pictures, even if they're just for yourself. And take them every 3 months, every 6 months. You will see progress. And really, it just begs the question, like, if social media didn't exist, how many of us would actually be in here? So with that in mind, I hope you guys could at least take one tip from this video to encourage you to just keep working out and to push you forward in your working out and lifting experience.